Hi, my name's Chris and welcome to My Cabin Life. Love to talk about and even answer any questions that people might have around what is it like to live in a cabin. And I really love living in my cabin because it's affordable, it's peaceful, the community cares, and it's in a beautiful bushland park setting. Just love it. Considering a retirement village is, don't mean to be offensive to anyone, and I'm sort of calling the kettle black, but they're full of old people. Living in a park environment means that we get to meet a whole range of people. There's families, there is older people that live here, over 50s, but they're travellers. There's lots of travellers here. There's visitors, people live here and work. It's all ages that are here. It's not just retired people. It's like you would get in any park, the whole range of people. And you get some really interesting conversations and you learn a lot too from the travellers. Most of the homes here are pretty basic. Most of them are under 100,000. Some of them are, there's a couple that are a bit more than that. Ours would probably be one of those, but there's real range of options here. You can either go quite flash and spend 300,000, or you could be quite minimal and spend 55. So the great range of options for living here. They're not cookie cutter homes that you get in retirement villages where it's just row upon row of the sameness. Everyone here has got a different size site. They've got different positioning on the sites, different views, different outlooks, so, not very close together. This park, we find everybody here is very approachable, they're friendly, they're helpful, it's casual, it's respectful. We have some really good community times together where we might just have an impromptu afternoon tea. We celebrate things like AFL Grand Final or Australia Day or New Year's Eve, Easter, even Shrove Tuesday. We will just do some impromptu things and we have a lot of fun. For us, the cost of living here is very manageable, particularly if you're on a very limited income like a pension. I am still working. My husband has retired. He's age pension age. So it's quite affordable. There's just for us, there's just a rental payment once a week, which is $157 a week, which when you consider what the rent is elsewhere in this country, $157 is very doable. We pay for our electricity and gas, but the water and the rubbish collection is included in our rent. So we find it very affordable to live here. Because the property is small, we haven't got huge electricity and gas bills. So, and we've got a diesel heater in one part of our little cabin. And we've also got a generator as a standby if we need be, because we are in a bush environment. So occasionally we do get some power outages. We have a diesel heater which plugs into the cabin and it will run, it'll keep the fridge going, the lights on. And if it happens to be in winter, we can use the diesel heater to just keep the chill off everything. We pay our own insurances for our property, which minimal because the property is not expensive. So if you were on a limited income, this is a really, really good affordable option. And there's plenty of these little gems all throughout the country. It's not easy to find them all because there's not one location where you can just, Google and find everything. You've pretty much got to hunt the location that you want to live in and then really look at what caravan parks, what retirement areas are in that location and see what they've got to offer. Let's have a think about the maintenance costs of living in a cabin in a park versus living in a house in town. Roughly, if you should allow in your budget, you should allow roughly 1% of the value of the property to be put back into that property for maintenance each year. So if you talk about 1%, if you had a $700,000 house, you're looking at $7,000, maintain it and to look after it and to keep it in that condition that's sellable. Because if you don't do the maintenance, you end up with a house that becomes very undesirable because there is too much maintenance to be done. Somebody else looks at it and thinks, oh, too much money to be spent. So if you want to keep your home in a sellable condition, you've got to really put into it every year to make sure that the fabric of the building is in good condition. So if you look at a property like this, might be $100,000, so 1%, $1,000. That's a lot easier to manage than the cost of a home that's far more expensive, and there's no fencing here to maintain. Yeah, it's quite minimal. So that's another thing to consider, is the ongoing maintenance costs. Our experience of living in this little cabin, we've lived here full time for a number of years. We've owned the property for 11 years. 2014 we bought it. And we have, when we first bought it, it was pretty basic. We paid $60,000 for it and it was pretty basic. And we bought it as a holiday getaway, our little bolt hole. And we've done an enormous amount of work on it now to make sure that it's a very comfortable home. It's comfortable in winter, comfortable in summer. We've got a purpose-built bed with that folds up like a caravan bed, so that we've got storage underneath. We've really maximised storage within this little place. I've got a very nice little functional kitchen. I actually really like my kitchen, even though it's very small. I love it. It functions beautifully. I can cook outside so that a lot of the cooking smells are not in here. We've really made this place very livable. And if anybody is interested in cabin living, I'm going to talk more about the renovations that we've done, the thought processes that go into some of the changes that we've made. Some of those thought things were around managing electricity cost. So, LED lighting has gone in everywhere, and what are we heating water with, how are we managing the gas, and so on. So there's quite a few things that we've done here. My husband has a background in engineering, so he's the brains behind all of that, and I'm the beneficiary of that. So is it cost effective? Is it easy to get into? Where do you find them? What are the benefits of living in a cabin? Could you live in a community environment? I mean, I think the answer is yes, because people purchase apartments, they purchase units in blocks of units, they purchase into retirement villages. Some people are now probably sitting on a property that's worth quite a bit of money, but they don't have any cash. Their cash flow is limited to a pension. So they might be thinking, right, if I were to sell, release a bit of the cash, what are my options? Here's one of the options that you probably may not even consider because it's not within the mainstream conversation. You also remember here we're covered by the Residential Tenancies Act, and because we're on a lease for the land that our building sits on, you may be eligible for rent assistance through Centrelink. So there's another thought. There are lots of benefits of living here. A few pros and cons people might talk about. They might say, yeah, but you don't own the land. You know what? I don't care. Because if you buy in an apartment, if you buy in another retirement place, you don't own the land anyway. Depends on your contract, but yeah, you don't own the land when you own an apartment, and you've got body corporates to deal with. We don't have a body corporate here. We have a residents committee. Oh, look, you know what? We don't even have a residents committee. We're very informal. We get on very well with the owners of the park. When we have problems, we can just speak to them directly, and sure, they'll address things that are urgent. We're very connected to our management team here, as well as the owners of the park, which is, credit to them that they make themselves very accessible. So for us, we love living in our little cabin life.